everybody. Welcome to Coach's Corner. I'm your host, Coach Tripp, with a good friend of mine, former All-American running back at Alabama, Bobby Humphrey. Bobby, man, thanks for coming on the show again. I think it was about like a year ago last time you came on.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's good to see you, and good to know that things are going well. Still know the show going strong, man.
I tell you, I've been going to the doctors a lot, but, the engine's still strong. I just need some parts replaced. That's all. Oh, my gosh. Folks, we're here to talk about actually a movie, okay? And I want to let everybody know, and I'll read this from the website, Bobby, and then we'll get in and talk about Marlon and Brianna co-producing it. It's called Nothing But a Winner. Chronicles the rise of the greatest football college program in the history of the sport, the University of Alabama Crimson Tide. But behind that ruthless competition in the Southeastern Conference and Alabama's staggering number of national championship actually lies a deeper story, the making of men. At the heart of Alabama's dynasty are two coaching giants, Bear Bryant and Coach Nick Saban, who in different eras built a culture defined not just by winning, but by relentless transformation. Okay, Bryant, coached during the height of the civil rights movement, led the charge to integrate the team in the deeply segregated South, setting a precedent that would ripple beyond football. Decades later, Saban would inherit and evolve that culture, demanding total commitment from young athletes and entrusting the program's future to its first black freshman starting quarterback on the Alabama sports stage. Told through the firsthand accounts of the players who lived it, Nothing But a Winner reveals how Alabama's program forged unrefined 18-year-olds into disciplined leaders were overcoming obstacles off the field, fuels greatness on it. Spanning generations, social upheavals, and championship runs, one thing remains the same in Alabama. You buy into the process, you're destined to be nothing but a winner. Wow, that was really well said, well written. Now I'm going to ask you, Bobby, the thing that we're going to talk about your kids in a minute, getting into the program. But the word that really spoke to me, Bobby, there is transformational. And I swear to God, I was flipping through the channels a couple days ago, and I see Saban talking to a first-time NFL head coach about the difference between transactional coaching and transformational coaching. And it blew me away because I read about this about 15, 20 years ago in Joe Ehrmann's book, Inside Out Coaching. And that's what Alabama does. It transforms everybody because the standard is so high. You either get on board or get off the train.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I think that was the Bear Bryant's way, and that was also the Coach Saban's way. And you throw James Stallings in there too. He kind of, laid that same type of foundation and precedence on his team that, hey, you step in, you're going to either be a part of the process and you want to be a part of the process, or you need to go to the back and, or go to another team, however you want to put it. So,
Right.
Both those guys did it, and they did it great, and they did it in two different eras.
Man, Bobby, we're talking about this motion picture, and you've seen it. I haven't. I'm going Thursday night here in Pensacola. But Nothing But a Winner is co-produced by your son Marlon and your daughter Brianna. And before we talk about the film, how did they get involved in this? Was it maybe the director Jimmy Jenkins had a hand in that? And talk about that.
I think not Jimmy Jenkins. I think it was more of Caleb Castile. Caleb is in California, in Hollywood, and he's been acting and he's been in a few shows. He actually is the one that actually came to Brianna, and then who was my daughter, who was also out in California, and then they came together to approach Marlon about, hey man, I got this group of producers and guys who do film, want to do something on the dynasty of Alabama.
Right.
And it and that's how they actually got the initial conversation started. And they came to me about it. And I'm thinking, that's pretty great idea. I would love to see you guys work on this and see what could be become of it. You know, I never thought it would end up the way it ended up. I did get a chance to see it, true enough, and but I'm going again on July 31st to the theaters and watching it again. You know, support the kids and
Yeah.
you know, and actually also too, Paul, man, I'm actually in the actual in the film, in the documentary. They got about 4 or 5 of my sound bites, so they let Pops get in.
He's got a few of my coaches and a few of my teammates in it too. We're gonna talk about them in a second, but what was the lasting impression that left on you in the movie when you walked out after seeing it? You know, I know you heard about it and seen trailers, and I guess Marlon and Brand have been telling you about it. How long has it been in the works, and what was your lasting impression to take from it?
Well, it's been in the works for a while now. I think they started this thing probably about 3.5 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and you know, they spent almost 6 months to a year trying to track down all of the guys that they interviewed. If you, I think I may have sent you.
Yep. A list of them.
Yeah, you see the list of those guys that are going to be in the that's in the film.
Right.
And it was a lot of work. You know, those guys are spread out all over the country. So they, you know, so that's why it took so long, because they had to meet people, had to see people, had to reschedule, and some they never got a chance to interview because the schedules didn't work out.
Wow.
And they was running into a kind of a delivery time crunch, where they had to deliver the film, and they had to get it to the editors, get it to, you know, they had to get it to everybody because they had to edit. I mean, I interviewed for maybe an hour, 15 minutes, and let's see, maybe I got less than a minute. You know, I got 5 sound bites, but they like, Alabama's one of the greatest programs in college football history. Well, that takes all of 5 seconds. So, so you know, they had to edit all that stuff and go through all of that. But it was fun doing it. It was fun getting to see the guys again. It was almost like a family reunion when I bumped into guys who was ahead of me and waiting in line to get ready to be interviewed. And it was a lot of fun. And I tell you, everybody, Paul, that we asked to be a part of it did not hesitate. I mean, Coach Saban, people always ask, how in the world did you get Coach Saban on board? Marlon just asked him. We asked him, and he said, sure.
And I think the best part is that he picked Coach Bryant as the greatest coach of all time. I gotta, all right, let's get in and talk about these people, okay? And I've got like a list of 8 of them. Nick Saban, Gene Stallings, Sylvester Croom, Ozzie Newsome, Walter Lewis, Jalen Hurts, Wilbur Jackson, Jeremiah Castile, my teammate. Jeremiah he was like a cobra. Man, he would strike you, and he was only 180 pounds, but man, he had that snap to him, right? That little. Did you play with him in Denver, or did you miss each other in the late 80s?
I missed him in Denver. He was going to another team, and I was coming in, so I missed him. But go ahead on, man. I'm enjoying hearing you talk about it.
All right, so how about so you were interviewed, and Nick Saban, Gene Stallings, all those guys. Sylvester Croom came to tears. I mean, you know, he was the first black head coach in the SEC. Walter Lewis, who I had on the show a few months ago.
Wait a minute, hold on one second. Was he the first? Oh, he was the first black head coach in the SEC.
First black head coach in the SEC, Coach Croom.
Right, that's right. When he went to Mississippi State, that's right.
Right. And then Walter Lewis, of course, was the first black quarterback to start at the University of Alabama. And we had a blast on the show, Walter and I did. But, I mean, Ozzie Newsome, the Wizard of Oz, was there something that you learned from these guys, these players or coaches that you didn't know before, Bobby?
Well, the thing that was a lasting impression was how Coach Bryant players talked about him. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
How Coach Bryant players talked about him. And during that time, Coach Bryant, Coach Bryant he brought those guys in there during that time where there was the hype in the middle of the civil rights movement, and Wilbur Jackson being the first player there. And Wilbur Jackson talks about how, he was excited at first, but as he got closer, he got a little bit more frightened, a little bit more hesitant, and because he was the first black.
Talking behind your back, your own teammates and all that,
you don't know what to expect,
right?
But Coach Bryant, and Wilbur talking in the film about how Coach Bryant took care of them. Walter Lewis talking about how Coach Bryant took care of them. Him being the first black quarterback. You know what I mean? And Ozzie and all of those guys, and it made me realize that, man, Coach Bryant, first of all, was a man of his word. He was going to do what he said he was going to do. And he had a strong hand and was recognized by not just people in the state, but people in the country. The president, John Wayne, they talk about him, John Wayne picking up the phone and calling, people like that. It's John Wayne. He was a stud at that time, back in the day.
Yeah.
So, but that was most impressive to me is how those guys trusted Coach Bryant to come to the University of Alabama, knowing that they were going to get some type of resistance for being African Americans and playing on a team that had just integrated. Absolutely.
Well, there's no doubt about it that Coach Bryant picked Walter Lewis to be the pioneer, if you will. Because of
Paul, weren't you there with Walter? Did you not?
I was there. Yes, I was there with Walter. Absolutely. I saw the whole thing unfold. And of course I was from the north, so I was kind of flabbergasted. I really was flabbergasted, Bobby, when I first got to Tuscaloosa about people talking about the Civil War. Hell, I didn't think about the Civil War unless I was in, a history class, for crying out loud. We didn't talk about it, but I was flabbergasted at the Southerners that would talk about it. And then after I heard too much of it, I would just give them shit and say, "Oh, come on, man, you lost, get over it." It was, it was, what I mean? I couldn't understand that kind of culture, but Coach Bryant understood it. And he was a man of his word, and he didn't see colors. But I stop and think, Bobby, sometimes, like, how did we get here? How did Alabama, how did our school end up with the two greatest college football? You know what the odds of that, Bobby, are? And they're almost astronomical for one school to have the two greatest that ever lived.
That's what I'm thinking. That's the same thing I left there thinking, man, this is unbelievable. You think about that list of great college coaches, but none of them ever coached at the same place. No two of them coached at the same place.
Nope.
But at Alabama, guess what? We get the number one and the number two winningest national championship coaches at the University of Alabama in two different eras, but they were almost, and in the film, it almost, and I don't know, but I would go on a limb and say Coach Saban has never met, or been in the same room with Coach Bryant. I would go on a limb and say that. But you know what? They were identical in terms of their coaching style.
I'm glad you brought that up, Bobby, because I read Crimson Heart that Coach Mel Moore wrote. Mel Moore did know both of them very well. He knew Coach Bryant, coached for him, played for him. He's the one that went and got Saban. And on my radio show years ago, God rest his soul, Mel Moore said on my show, "Paul, they don't look alike, walk alike, talk alike, but between the ears, they're almost identical." And I was like, wow, that is so true. And it's just amazing how he made that, he made that identification. Bobby, I know it's human nature to want your kids to be godly, happy, and healthy. And I credit my ex-wife for raising my kids to be that way. But I mean, you got 5 of them, and they're all doing so good. How are the girls doing? And your other boy, you have 2 boys and 3 girls. We all know how Marlon's just hitting it out of the park in his 9th year. But talk about Mama Bear. Talk about Miss Barbara and the job she did.
Yeah, man, everybody's doing well. We raised our kids to kind of, work hard, put their nose to the grind, and as they participate in sport, to always go out and have fun and love what you're doing. And now we never thought that we would have 2 that would be executive producer and co-producer of a film that's going to be shown in a theater. I mean, for crying out loud, man. But that just goes to show you, man. My daughter Brianna moved from Jacksonville, Florida, quit her job, moved back to Birmingham, Alabama, and says she's coming back because she's going to go out to LA because she's always wanted to be an actress. And my wife and I, we looked at each other and we were like, we've been with her for 23, 24 years, and she's never mentioned that she wanted to be an actor. How in the world did this come about? And she moved out, drove all the way out there, did it all in 2 days, and, didn't stop, all on the road with her and my oldest son. And she's been hustling out there. She hadn't made it to the big stage yet, but she's putting her own out there. She's auditioning and working in between time, and she had a little short film. A couple was on a few short films and done a few reality show TVs where she was in the background audience, stuff like that. Yeah. And she's doing pretty well. She's been out there now probably about 7-8 years now. And lo and behold, Caleb come and present this to her as an opportunity, and she's the one who's done a lot of the legwork and putting this together, especially with the premiere that we put on, that she put on down in Birmingham at the Lyric Theater, downtown Birmingham. And she has worked extremely hard. So I mean, we just always felt like you got to go out and you got to create your own opportunities. You got to work hard, regardless of your downfall and your shortcoming. Continue to get up and fight.
I give credit to the mothers, Bobby. I mean, my gosh, I give credit to my kid's mother, your wife, probably your mom. I give credit to my mother. I mean, I had 4 boys, and my mother had 4 boys in the family. 3 of us played college sports, and the other one won a sports Emmy for a short documentary film about this guy in the triple-double. It's called Let 'Em Know You Were There. And so, yeah, it's amazing how full circle comes back. My brother lived in L.A. out there in the Hollywood area for a while and learned a little bit and got into it. And magic happens when you work hard and you make the right contacts. Let's talk a little bit about some of the guys in the movie that we know. We know all of these guys. I don't know Wilbur Jackson and a couple of the other ones, but how let everybody know. There's only a few tickets left. This show here is going to air on Sunday and again on Tuesday before the show on Thursday. But Antonio Lango, that's who I wanted to talk about because his family was amazing. I mean, if you talk about producing a 30 for 30 or a documentary series, how about the Good family? That's I think that family needs to be recognized as 5 boys from the same household became great players at Alabama. That's unusual.
That was amazing. And Antonio he's obviously was in the film, and because they did have they had probably about 15, anywhere between 10 and 15 minutes of some of Coach Stallings' players and his time when he was there at Alabama. But you're talking about a dynasty of family that born and bred, some athletes. You go from Chris, Kerry, You know, Clyde, Pierre, Antonio, and they had a lot of cousins that go to Alabama.
Yeah.
You know, they had about 4 or 5 cousins, and they always, top-notch players. I mean,
Yeah.
Town Creek, that's all you had to do. I remember Antonio said when you came through Town Creek, either you played football. He said he didn't have no choice but to play football to move to another county.
That's the same. That's that same corner in Northwest Alabama that Ozzie Newsome came from, and just some great Alabama athletes, probably from for other schools too. But I can't imagine what's in the water up there. Kind of like Pensacola. Pensacola's really proud, Bobby, of their sports heritage, from Roy Jones Jr. to Emmett, and all the golfers that we've had, and yeah, we've Pensacola is probably, that they've got some of their athletes are a little, but just for the size, it's not a very big city, but to have all those Hall of Famers come out of here, Don Hudson, and I could go on and on and on. Pensacola's proud of that. So it's little areas. I found it's pockets, states, right? Florida's a lot better athletes than, say, New York State. So there are certain areas that you get a bunch of athletes come out of. Marlon, I want to talk on Marlon. I want to brag on Marlon for a little bit. His 9th year, Bobby, two-time All-Pro and 4-time Pro Bowler. Is he healthy? How's he doing?
He's doing well and doing really, really great. He's healthy. They back in camp. He's going to be probably playing a little bit more in the slot this year, because they went out and got 2 really, really good corners. So I don't think he's going to have to rotate from the slot to the corner position. So I think he's going to be in one spot this year, unless something happens where somebody, get hurt, or they have some injuries, or I don't know. But it looks like they got a very, very healthy and very, very strong secondary. A lot of the projections are that they got the strongest secondary this year going into the league. So we'll see how that pans out. But he is doing well. 9 years, Paul, and it has gone by with the blink of an eye. Wow. And I can remember seemed like just yesterday he was catching an onside kick there in Arizona in the national championship game to help secure a victory for the Crimson Tide back then when they played for the national championship. But, hey, man, you got to enjoy the moments, live in the moments.
Yeah, that's right, Bobby.
Regret, man.
That's right. I heard something the other day, man. If you live in the past, you'll be depressed. If you live in the future, you'll be anxious. If you live in the present, you'll have peace. And that's where we all should live. Marlon looked like he was living in the present back in February. I saw him on TV. I don't know if it was the Pro Bowl week or something, but what the heck was he doing punting? I remember him punting something.
The Pro Bowl now has turned into – it's very interesting, and I love it. I rather see those guys.
It's like a skills contest.
Yeah, it's a skills contest, and I'd rather see those guys having a good time doing those kind of things than out there playing a football game where they're playing touch football. Ain't nobody really playing.
Yeah, me too.
I like it when they do the tug of war, and he was in the punt skill, so he had to have a punt. He did fairly well with it. The punt in some kind of. I don't know, some kind of, zone where you get points as you get closer to the center of it. Yeah. But, and you got points if you just hit it in the hole. But if you don't hit anything, you get 0. But he did well. He contributed to the team overall. And what they do is they have all those challenges, tug of war and all those things. You get points for them. You add them up at the end, and they determine who's going to win. I like that better than an actual game.
I do too. Yeah, I do too. I'm glad they're going that way. Nobody wants to play in that game and get a chance of getting hurt because football is violent, man. Let's face it, man. There's a lot of collisions going on in football. So I'm always erring on the side of caution now. And I used to be a banger. I mean, my gosh, nobody banged more than George O'Leary and Coach Bear Bryant, and I played for both of them. So I'm a believer in banging, but the unnecessary stuff is you know, the CTE is really playing a part. A bunch of my teammates have ALS, former teammates have ALS. So, you know, I don't think kids should even start until they get to high school to tackle football. Let's see, what's next for the Humphrey family? What are you guys doing? Are you guys going to do some music or more films or documentaries? What's going on?
Hey, Paul, I am convinced you never know what's going to happen in the Humphrey household. I'm dead serious. You never know. We one thing we own the fence now about a Christmas video. You know, we usually do a Christmas video every year, and send it out as our Christmas, you know, gift to everyone. And I don't know, we've kind of had an extended family here. I am the grandfather of 4 grandboys. So Marlon has 2 and my oldest have 2. And it's getting nicely crowded in the Humphrey household. So it'd be hard to shoot a video with that many people, but I don't know.
Bobby.
Mama Hump will figure something out.
4 grandkids is soon going to turn into 8 or 10 grandkids. Okay, so yeah, that the family is growing. I've got 3 grandchildren, and the next generation. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to see the next generation coming. That was actually one of my questions. How many grandchildren you have? And you got all 4 boys? No girls yet?
No girls yet. All 4 boys. So my oldest had 2 boys, and Marlon, by way of marriage, has a boy, and he and his wife has a newborn that's 8, going on 9 months.
Oh, wow. How awesome. How awesome.
And I'm obviously, you want to know what's my name that they're going to call me, and my name is going to be called Papa Hump.
Papa?
Papa Hump.
Papa Hump. I'm Poppy because that's kind of like Italian, I guess. so my kids, so I'm Poppy to all my grandkids, which is fine with me. I'll take the Italian heritage, for crying out loud. Right? Johnny Musso.
That's right.
Johnny Musso, one of the greatest Italians at Bama. You know, Bobby, I was going through like the running backs. I was thinking of Marlon. I was thinking of you and the running backs, and I'm like, oh my God, one day we're going to have to talk about the great position players at Alabama. You know, because everybody talks about Penn State being linebacker university. Well, I can name like 4 or 5 linebackers from Alabama that I'd put anybody up against.
I agree 100%.
I mean, Leroy Jordan to Cornelius Bennett to the Lowe brothers and Derek Thomas. I mean, how could you even beat those 4 right there, man? That's hard to beat. And that's just
you think about those linebackers, you know, like you said, Woodrow Lowe, EJ Jr.
Oh yeah, EJ. Just on and on. No, now I lost you. Oh, there you are. You're back. Voice is back.
Leroy Jordan. I'm sorry. My headphones playing tricks on me. Did I call out Leroy Jordan? Did you hear that?
Yep. Yeah, just amazing, man. And then you can go to wide receivers and the same thing, right? You go to running backs.
That's right.
Same thing. Yeah. Well, maybe that's why we won 18 titles. We not only hey, it's proven we had the 2 best coaches, but maybe we had some pretty good players too. Right?
That's right. And just here recently, outside of Joe Namath, just here recently, we've had several good quarterbacks to kind of get drafted and has done very well. I mean, we got a quarterback that won a Super Bowl, you know, Jalen Hurts, and you know, you got Tua that's playing very well. So you know, we've done well here over the past during our time, and we got a ton of running backs.
Yeah, Heisman trophies, first round picks, like yourself, Sean Alexander. I mean, we could go on and on, right? Oh man, maybe we'll do a show. We'll do a greatest Bama position player show, Bobby. Yeah,
I like that.
You be in there, but I sure as hell won't be in there for DB. Thanks, man. Bobby, man, thanks for being on. I appreciate you calling me. It was great to have you on again.
Man, it was awesome, man. It is always good. Let's don't make it too long the next time, okay, Paul?
All right, we'll make a deal. That's a deal, brother. Thank you, brother.
All right, then.
Peace, brother. God be with you. All right. Man, Bobby Humphrey, what a great running back he was. And the movie, Nothing But a Winner. Of course, that's Coach Bryant's saying. But Coach Saban will have a lot to say. And that's interesting. I don't know if Coach Saban and Coach Bryant ever did meet. But anyway, thanks for watching. This show is going to air Sunday and Tuesday. I'll be going to the movie on next Thursday. But thanks for watching the show, everybody. Stay tuned for these important messages. Without these great sponsors, this just wouldn't be possible. Have a great sports week, everybody. So long.
Arbitrium Consulting for all your fencing, landscaping, pressure washing, tree trimming needs. Call 850-483-0350 for your free estimates. Serving Pensacola, Gulf Breeze, Navarre, Fort Walton, Destin, Perdido, Gulf Shores, Foley, and the entire Gulf Coast. Arbitrium Consulting is owner-operated, fully licensed and insured. Call today, 850-483-0350, the official landscaper of Coach's Corner.
Hey, Bama fans, this is Will Moore, president of the Pensacola Bama Club. You can find us at PensacolaBamaClub.com. We are your official alumni chapter in the Pensacola and surrounding areas. Membership is available to all alumni and all Bama fans, so come see us at one of our many events throughout the year. Our Bama football watch parties are the next best thing to being in Bryant-Denny Stadium. We even serve authentic stadium hot dogs. Membership, event, and contact information will be found on our website at PensacolaBamaClub.com. Roll Tide.
Over 30 years, you have seen the orange Beck signs all over the Gulf Coast listing a property for sale or lease. Beck Partners is your trusted advisor in commercial real estate, property management, commercial and personal insurance. Senior Vice President David Valletto has been with Beck Partners since 1989. Take advantage of his wealth of knowledge by calling him today at 982-7352. 982-7352. Extensive experience in all aspects of leasing, sales, management, and site selection will make sure your expectations are exceeded.
Did you know there's a place where you can get good neighbor service and surprisingly great rates on your home and auto insurance? Yep, and that place is, ta-da, State Farm. Here's the deal. State Farm agent Will Rentschler is your go-to agent in Pensacola, Florida for the service you deserve at the price that you want. So stop shopping around. State Farm agent Will Rentschler has you covered. Call 850-433-4678 for your surprisingly great rates today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Legal disclaimer, individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements.